Okay, we're carrying on with the dishonest checks, and we were at the part of step 2 where we're cancelling the discount. Okay, so what we're doing is we're debiting the debtor with 20 Rand, and we've credited the discount allowed with 20 Rand, and we've written cancel discount on dishonest check. So if you look here, you see this transaction here, right? This one where you credited the bank and you debited the debtor's control, that one is going into the CPJ and the debtor's journal, right? Now the discount allowed part of the transaction where we're cancelling the check, when we're crediting the discount allowed and we're debiting our debtor's control, that one is the one that we are focusing on in the general journal. So we're debiting the debtor and we're crediting the discount allowed. We've reversed the transaction, 20 Rand debit, 20 Rand credit, and your debtor's control gets a 20 Rand debit. Let's look at it in the general ledger and the debtor's ledger. So here's the general ledger. What have they done here? Okay, they have debited the debtor. Remember, here was that amount that we received, right? 400 Rand. So we've done that when we got the check. They did it together. We put in 380 for bank and 20 Rand for discount allowed, right? So you credited the debtor to say that he paid you. But now the check came back. So we put the check back. We credited the PJ, and then we're debiting our debtor again to show that he owes us 380, and again to put back the journal debit of the discount of the 20 Rand. So now again, can you see he's owing me that 400 Rand again. So first, when he gives me the check, I put the payment in and I'm reducing his account with 400 Rand. Now I'm cancelling that check, so I'm putting back the 380 for the check and I'm putting back the 20 Rand for the discount. That's why I like to separate those two entries. So now we're separating them here and you're doing that T accounts there. Okay, so in your discount allowed, you'll see, look at the T account I've done for you. In the debit side, we had put in the debtor's control, given him a discount of 20 Rand there. Now we're taking it away. This is the transaction we're focusing on, where we're cancelling the discount, we're debiting the debtor, we're crediting the discount allowed. You're debiting the debtor, you're crediting the discount allowed. So that part of it goes into the general journal. It's the same thing that we have done in the dishonest checks. Okay, so if you go through that video, it's the same thing, only now we're focusing on the general journal and how we enter it, this transaction, into the general journal, right? So let's look at the debtor's ledger, what has happened to him. On the first, he had 400 Rand. Then he came and he paid us with 380. So it means we gave him a discount of 20 Rand. And what was his account here now? 0, right? So 400 minus there. It became 0. Now that check became dishonored. So again, I must debit him with 380. And I must reverse the discount. So again, he's owing me 400 Rand. Okay, so this is the entry of a debtor payment and then a dishonest check, and then you're cancelling the dishonest check. And here's what you need to write down here: journal voucher or journal debit, doesn't matter. Okay, so that's the one. Now let's look at activity 1. Okay, so activity 1, right? Information in the books of ZZ Traders, 28th of December, received a bank debit note from the bank that says RD or insufficient funds. The check was received from M. Maseko for 270 Rand in settlement of his account of 300 Rand, and the check has already been cancelled. Cancel the discount granted to M. Maseko, posted to the general ledger and the debtor's ledger. So they're not asking you to do the part where you have to do the CPJ and all that, the payment. All you have to do is you need to do the general journal for cancelling his discount. What was his discount amount? Read the question properly, copy the example and do the general journal and the general ledger and the discount allowed. And that's the activity number 1 under dishonest checks. Okay, if you look, it's on page 4. Right, so please complete this activity to study this example and to do general journal on dishonest checks.